Alright, welcome back. This is M-Dog. And we're at Amber. Let's catch a few carp. Maybe a tench or two. See what we can get here. This has been an interesting spot. We are probably coming up on about 35-40 minutes. There's a tench. Let's get these back in the water, as this is it's 5 a.m. so hopefully we'll see a few fish here. So as you can see, 38 fish in about 45 minutes. It was keeping up with about a fish a minute until we hit overnight. Obviously it's going to slow down a little bit. So hopefully this will be a nice bite rate to kind of catch back up. It's probably not going to get back to a fish a minute by the time we hit an hour, but we will see. We're at 132, 147, very well-known spot here in G4, basically. And as far as a clip, we are at 8, 9, and 10 meter clip. Overall, I would say the 9 meter clip has been the most active if you're looking to like settle in on one. And between 8 and 10, I'd say I've had better fish on 8 than 10, but all three are working, so I've just kept them at 8, 9, and 10. This is what we're using, so this is where it gets interesting, right? We're using a smaller boilie size, basically the 15 size, with purple corn, blackcurrant, purple corn, blackcurrant dip, and then the same blackcurrant PVA I've been using off and on for the last few weeks since blackcurrant's been doing pretty well at Amber and other places, Old Berg as well. So that's what we're using. The reason why I say it gets interesting is if you look at our net, and let's go by fish, we've got a lot of commons, 8 kilo being the biggest, a couple of frames, 8 kilo being the biggest. Mirror carp, we've got 15, so it's been the most often caught fish, and 15.4 the largest. And then we've gotten 4 tench. Time of day, I think tench will increase like in the next 3-4 in-game hours. We'll probably have a couple more tench, so a reasonable amount of tench coming in. And I think one of the reasons why this spot maybe is interesting is folks are seeing trophy tench occasionally coming in on these baits. So, you know, if you hit a trophy tench or two, or if you were to get really lucky and hit a trophy common or mirror or frame, then obviously that's going to increase your silver a good amount. Assuming you don't get trophies, or even if you did see one trophy tench, I still think the silver and XP per hour is better at that pond spot, if that pond spot is still as active as it was last week. I haven't tried it in the last couple days. If it's still as active, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can look back. I did a video about the pond spot at Amber, sometime in the last 5 days or so. The pond spot is the one that's right over there near town at the end of the dock, 15 meter clip, a little bit longer clip, but again, very short clip. And the difference is that spot, you're just using corn. So the thing with that spot is the bite rate is just even faster than this. This is already a really good bite rate for carp spot. This is like, to me, when you're using smaller boilies or just corn or whatever, snowman rig, whatever, you're looking for trying to hit that 1 fish per minute average, because you know you're going to be catching overall a lot of smaller fish, which, by the way, I have turned, this is like my 4th or 5th fish turning into fish pieces. So we've caught a few more. We have caught some smaller ones, but the majority of them have been marker size and a few with some decent weight on them. So this is still going to be a really good spot. It just kind of shows you how good that pond spot was on single corn, because again, the quality of fish was at least as good as what we're seeing here over there, if not a little better, in terms of seeing a few of those big ones come in. And we're still not seeing any rares over here. I don't expect to. We weren't seeing any rares at the pond, so that's kind of even. The main difference is we're using boilies and corn over here, so a little bit more expensive bait combination and not quite as good a bite rate, although it is close. So the only difference may be if you have a little higher chance of trophy over here, and I don't know that you do, but if you did, then that could, on average, catch this spot up. But regardless of comparing it to the pond spot, it's still a really good spot. It's a good spot for folks who are new to amber, that don't have as big a carp gear. Anytime you're using these smaller boilies, smaller setups, yeah, you could still occasionally run into a carp that's going to give you a run for the money. But for the most part, we're catching smaller to mid-sized carp. I'm even being bold enough to use mono line, do a little less damage to my reel. We don't have as much line on the reel, so if we hit a really nice trophy, or certainly a blue tag, we might not be able to get it in before it spools us. That's possible. But it's a short clip, so we might have a chance. Who knows? It just depends on what fish it was and how fast it ran. But, you know, the safe thing to do when you're out here on the big lake is, despite the slight difference in damage, is go ahead and throw on your braided line. So let's see if we see a couple more fish here. I was going to try to, I am on call for work, so it's that time of the week again where a lot of times when I'm working on these videos I can get interrupted, but if we can, we'll try to sit here for just a couple more minutes so we have a good idea. We have gone up in bite rate again. You see we're getting like multiple fish per minute, at least at times. We're back up to 43 keepers, and remember, I'm getting rid of the non-markers. 43 in just over 50 minutes, so back on pretty much 1 per minute average once the overnight was over. Looks like we've got something on line 3 here. And once again, here's the PVA. Definitely is my standard PVA. At least recently it has been when I'm using black currant stuff. There's another nice little frame. If work does interrupt me, I'll just mute myself for a couple minutes, and then I should be able to at least come back and wrap things up real quick before I actually have to go. I am using large 1 hooks. Again, just kind of everything to increase, to encourage a decent bite rate, knowing that we're going to get some smaller species, smaller carp, but for the most part, pretty decent. And yeah, commons, frames, mirrors, with the occasional tench. Are we up to 4 tench now? Yeah. So we're going to say 5 tench an hour, something like that. Probably will be your average. 4 to 5. Yeah, wouldn't you be curious to see, I know I would, what this spot would be like with just the corn? That might be a better comparison to the pond spot. Is there some reason we would get less tench on just corn? I don't think so. I don't know. Do the small boilies in particular attract the tench or have a better shot at tench trophies? Not sure. I'm not sure about that. Slow it back down a little bit. Well, since morning, it seems like the line over here at 10 meters has been doing quite well. Okay. Just corn on the 3rd line now. I mean, I really think we'll end up with, what, 400 silver an hour? At least on average. I don't know if we'll quite do that this net, but I think on this spot would be around 400 silver an hour on average. Again, like finding this spot, a couple other, you know, maybe the pond spot if it's still working. Peg 1 or across from peg 1 has been, you know, still pretty good lately. But you find 2 or 3 spots like that, you start rotating, and you come pretty close to 400 to 600 an hour based on the spot and how it's doing. That's just really good silver. It's consistent XP, and it's just really good silver, and it doesn't require, these kind of spots don't require top-end carp gear. It has been only 2 or 3 fish have put any kind of tension at all on top-tier carp gear, so it might slow you down a little bit with, you know, if you come out here with caliber HSVs. You know, yeah, that 8 or 10 kilo carp, you're going to feel it for a minute, but you're still going to get it in without too much trouble. And I don't think the carp trophy I just don't think it's going to happen very often in this spot, at least with this approach. So there's another bite on third line. Remember, this is with just corn. And it looks like we're still getting decent fish out. So, you know, you could try it going just corn like this. It may be just as good, if not better. The thing I'd be curious about is over the course of an hour. It's been 11 minutes since a tench. Over the course of an hour, do you get the same amount of tench with without the boilie? And you might. And the other nice thing is these little spots with the smaller fish, they don't seem to be as PVA dependent. You could try ground bait. Even better if you have it, use spod. And just use a similar recipe, just spod the water. And you'll still have, I think, really good results. I would imagine. I haven't tried it, but I would imagine you would. The pond spot, this spot, they're just wanting to be pretty active spots. So, all right, what are we at? We got to be getting close. Yeah, we're getting very close. So let's see one or two more fish, and then we'll see how we did for this hour. It has slowed down just a little bit, I feel like, here at the end. Not quite what it was when I first started fishing this in the I guess in the maybe the late morning. What time is it? 10. So it might have been right at noon or just before noon, 11 a.m., something like that. Throughout the day, it was pretty good. Now there were some smaller ones mixed in, but as you can see with the minutes, like they were coming in pretty fast and furious. It slowed down just a tinch, but it's still pretty good, pretty decent. It's getting a little late to see tench anymore, though. I don't think we're going to have any more tench. Tench really like that early morning and then late afternoon, evening times, it seems like. What I should be doing instead of making fish pieces is saving those 2 kilo carp for making fried carp, cooking. I also see somebody called a gray char at Ladoga using feeders. So I kind of want to try that. It's a little bit of a long shot, but I thought it might be fun. So I don't know that I'll make a video unless we actually get a decent net. I have a feeling it's going to be really slow, just like one of those can you get lucky spots, but I might give it a try after this. And if anything cool happens, I will certainly let you know. All right, so that's going to be an hour. I was trying to get one more fish. I guess we still have a minute. Let's see if we can get one more fish here. I think this spot picks up in the afternoon. Amber's been weird for me lately. I have been getting better bite rates in the afternoon, even like middle of the day when it's supposed to slow down. Everything's just a little backwards right now, it feels like. And maybe it's because it's not on fire. I mean, I haven't seen like a great... And maybe I just don't know about it. Maybe you guys have seen it. Actually, haven't checked Discord today. See what all my my friends in the Discord channel's catching, but I haven't seen. You remember the? You remember back in the day? And I say back in the day, just like a few months ago, at Amber, a lot of times the spots would be like, you know, you'd find a spot and you'd go throw in like, okay, so if you're using pop-up boilies, you'd go throw in, sometimes it would be like a size 20 boilie and a piece of and corn, or sometimes it would even be like a size 20 boilie and then a size 15 boilie. And you'd sit there for an hour. You wouldn't catch maybe quite this many fish, but, you know, you'd have a couple trophies a lot of hours, or at least one, you know, a lot of hours. I just haven't seen those spots, you know, recently at Amber that can sustain that, justify using that 20 size boilie. Maybe I just haven't been trying. Maybe the community's kind of figured out like you can actually make more silver, at least right now, using smaller setups like this, but yeah, I haven't seen it. Like 64, 94. I mean, even some of it's the same spots. We're just approaching it different. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if Amber's just not quite as healthy, hasn't hit a hot streak. Maybe we haven't quite settled in on the right bait combination recently. Maybe not as many people are fishing, so we're not getting as much information. I don't know what it is. Keep an eye on that corn, though. If you try it in this spot with just corn, I'm a little worried that the quality of the fish might be a little lower. I think if our time's up on our quad bike, yeah, it is. So let me just relog. That's going to be the smarter play here. I'll be right back. So I don't know. It's a little strange, a little odd. Oops. There you go. I had a feeling 400. I didn't know I was going to be that close, but yeah, 400 per hour. I just think that's what you're going to look at that spot. At least using the boilie and corn. I'm a little nervous about the corn only, based on what we are seeing. You might get a little better bite rate, but I don't know if it'll be as high a quality as fish as the pond spot is, but you could try it. You want to see some of these healthy tench in there too. I think there's a good chance of trophy and tench if you're patient. But anyway, another nice little carp spot. I mean, again, if you're getting 400 an hour, that's insane. If you can average 400 an hour in this game, you know, you can go places pretty quickly. Now, in recent times, there's been some crazy spots, some crazy types of fishing, you know, Tunguska. Some people are used to trying to get more than 400 per hour, but I'm telling you, 400 an hour, if you can get that, that is a great average, especially considering how easy these fishing spots are recently with the smaller setups at Amber. You know, back in the day, if you found a 200 an hour spot, everybody flocked there. So, I mean, it's a whole nother ballgame when you're averaging 400 an hour, obviously. So, anyway. All right. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Tight lines.